Have you ever looked at someone seemingly unshakable and wished that could be you? Someone untouched by criticism, rejection, loss, even betrayal? Have you dreamt of the day you'll finally silence that gnawing pain inside, the anguish you hide so well behind a brave face? Maybe you're exhausted, tired of the constant effort to please everyone, to project an image of strength you don't always feel. Maybe, deep down, all you crave is a moment's rest from the crushing pressure to be untouchable. But let me tell you a truth most won't dare to say. As long as you run from pain, it owns you. As long as you numb yourself, build walls, and hide, you remain a prisoner, a hostage to hurtful words, disappointing actions, and those silences that echo like a judgment inside. This isn't weakness. It's the human condition. Some are just better actors than others. Carl Jung, a titan of understanding the human psyche, put it perfectly. We aren't defined by what happens to us, but by what we choose to become in response. And that changes everything. The goal isn't to build an impenetrable fortress around your heart. It's not about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about integration. It's about dragging into the light the very things that haunt you in the shadows. Because real strength isn't the absence of pain. It's knowing yourself completely, even when you feel broken. If you're still watching, it's not an accident. This message is for you, the one tired of being wounded by everything and everyone. It's for you, feeling perpetually on the back foot emotionally, like others hold a power over you that you can't grasp. I want to show you another way is possible. But first, you need to face some truths. They might sting, but this time perhaps, but the pain will be the very thing that sets you free. Let's begin. You think the source of your hurt is out there in careless words, abandonments, unexpected betrayals? But here's the brutal reality. Nothing external has the power to wound you, unless it strikes an existing wound within. What truly hurts isn't what others do. It's what their actions activate inside you. It's the story you spin around the event. It's the echo of old traumas you've never truly healed. It's the emptiness you camouflage with forced strength, with pride, with that desperate performance of being okay. Jung taught us that the pain triggered by the outside world is merely a reflection of what's unresolved inside. It's why one person can weather a storm while another crumbles at a single comment. It's not the event, it's where the blow lands within you. And here's an uncomfortable truth bomb. You suffer so intensely because, on some level, you still believe you can control how the world treats you. You're caught in a relentless loop, trying to be good enough, smart enough, strong enough, understanding enough, as if perfecting yourself is a shield against hurt. But control is an illusion. Cling to it, and you live in constant tension, trying to predict the unpredictable, trying to dodge the inevitable blows of life. Do you genuinely want to stop suffering? Then stop trying to prevent suffering. What you need isn't more control, it's deeper awareness. As long as you believe others must change for your pain to cease, you remain their emotional captive. Freedom ignites the moment you grasp this. External events only gain power when they resonate with something unhealed within you. And this internal landscape is the real battlefield, your unconscious. That vast, unseen territory you don't understand, don't acknowledge, and therefore don't master. It masters you. We dive into that next. Get ready, because this is where true transformation begins. If this resonates, hit subscribe. Your support fuels this exploration. Thank you. Here's perhaps the biggest lie you've swallowed, that you're consciously in control of your life. Wake up. You're not. Not as long as you're running on autopilot, reacting without knowing why, feeling emotions whose origins are a mystery, making choices you inevitably sabotage. Carl Jung nailed it. Till you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Think about it. That sudden surge of pain, that inexplicable rage, the wave of sadness that crashes over you, none of it is random. These are messages bubbling up from the forgotten, ignored, repressed corners of your psyche. Jung called this shadowy realm the unconscious. It's not just hazy thoughts. It's an active force, a hidden operating system of memories, traumas, desires, and fears you desperately avoid, yet which dictates your feelings and actions. Why do certain words shatter you while others shrug them off? Because those words poke at raw, unhealed spots inside you. Spots you've never truly faced, just swept under the psychological rug. And now, you keep tripping over them. Jung knew. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. And what have you been doing? Judging yourself, repressing, silencing, pretending. As if ignoring the darkness makes it disappear. Here's the hard truth. The unconscious doesn't vanish. It just finds sneakier, More destructive outlets, toxic relationship patterns you can't break, cycles of self-sabotage, anxieties that flare up precisely when things seem good. This isn't bad luck. It's your unconscious screaming for attention. But you keep hitting snooze. Want to become truly resilient? Stop running from what's inside. As long as your unconscious remains a mystery, you are a puppet pulled by emotional strings. The more you shield yourself from external pain, the more vulnerable you become to the festering wounds within. But there is a way out. Not through defense, but through integration. Because becoming truly untouchable isn't about resistance. It's about profound self-knowledge. We'll explore that next. What does unshakable strength really look like? Hint, it's not armor. It's acceptance. Let's continue. Most people think the path to not getting hurt is to shut down, build walls, wear masks, develop emotional armor. They declare, I don't care anymore, nothing gets to me. But beneath the surface, they're still bleeding. They're corroding from the inside out. Because the problem was never feeling. The problem is not knowing what you're feeling and why. And that ignorance is the curse of the unexamined self. Jung's wisdom cuts deep here. Know all the theories, master all the techniques, but when touching a human soul, be just another human soul. And that vulnerable human soul you keep hiding behind the facade of the strong, controlled character? It's screaming to be acknowledged. Becoming emotionally strong isn't about being cold or numb. It's not about ignoring pain or pretending conflict doesn't exist. It's about integration, about acceptance, about bravely bringing into the light everything you've shoved into the darkness. You don't become untouchable by building a fortress between you and the world. You become untouchable when you realize nothing external can truly harm what you have already embraced within yourself. When you integrate your shadows, your fears, flaws, insecurities, you stop being reactive. You observe, you choose, you reclaim your power, you cease being an emotional puppet. That is freedom. Jung called this journey individuation, the process of becoming authentically you, not the version others expect, not the persona you crafted for acceptance, but the whole, integrated self that emerges from the conscious meeting of your light and your shadow. Individuation is not a process of perfection, Jung reminded us, but of integration. You don't need to become a better person in the conventional sense. You need to become whole. And here's the paradox no one tells you. The more you flee pain, the more power it holds. The more you try not to be affected, the more fragile you become. But when you turn and face your own wounds, when you accept all of yourself, the beautiful, the ugly, the noble, the shameful external events lose their power to dismantle you. This path, however, demands courage. The courage to look within. The courage to drop the masks. The courage to feel. Because hidden within the pain itself is the key to your transformation. And that's our next stop. Understanding how suffering, your supposed enemy, can become the very gateway to your deepest strength. Let's keep going. From childhood, you were likely taught to despise pain. That suffering is weakness, crying is futile, feeling too much makes you vulnerable. So, you learn to run, to avoid, to deny. But the more you flee suffering, the relentlessly it pursues you. And worse, it shapeshifts. It disguises itself as anxiety, simmering anger, apathy, chronic boredom, those self-destructive urges you can't explain. Ignored pain doesn't vanish, it digs tunnels inside you. Until one day, seemingly out of nowhere, the ground gives way and everything collapses. Jung saw suffering differently. Not as a curse, but as a messenger from the soul. An alarm bell from the unconscious. The language your deeper self uses to demand your attention. He famously said, "Depression is like a lady in black. If she appears, don't push her away. Invite her in, offer her comfort, and listen to what she has come to tell you. But do you listen? Or do you silence it? Distract yourself? Stay busy? Numb out? You do everything to avoid looking at the message. What is this pain desperately trying to show you? The truth is, suffering hurts so intensely because you're still at war with yourself. A part of you yearns to grow, while another clings desperately to the familiar. Something inside cries out for transformation, but your ego, addicted to control, tries to smother the call. Pain is born in that friction, because change hurts. Growth hurts. Letting go of old beliefs, severing toxic ties, allowing parts of you to die, it's all a form of mourning. An internal death and rebirth. But listen closely. It's precisely in the ruins, in the deconstruction, that something new finds space to grow. When your certainties crumble, when pain strips away your defenses and exposes your raw vulnerability, you finally glimpse who you really are without the layers, the performance, the mask. And in that moment of raw honesty, Suffering becomes sacred. It brings you to your knees before the only thing that can truly liberate you, yourself. Jung understood this profound truth. Suffering isn't a system failure, it's an integral part of the process. Pain isn't the dead end, it's the trailhead for the journey towards becoming whole, towards individuation. The tragedy is, most people turn back before they cross that dark valley. They flee, distract, scramble back to the surface. But not you. If you're still here, you're ready to cross. Next, we explore how this crossing happens, how the path of individuation, lonely and brutal as it may feel, is the ultimate path to freedom. Let's keep going. Few dare to begin the journey of individuation. Even fewer see it through. Why? Because this path offers no comfort, no guarantees. It doesn't protect your ego. It dismantles it. Jung described individuation as becoming who you truly are. But this demands, above all, unlearning who you thought you were. And that stripping away hurts more than any external blow. You start to realize much of your identity was built on illusion. You are not your achievements. You are not your traumas. You are not the carefully constructed image you projected for love, respect, or admiration. That was a survival strategy. But surviving isn't living. Individuation is life's insistent call to move beyond mere survival. It's the unconscious pushing everything repressed, hidden, distorted into the light of awareness. Individuation requires the dissolution of the persona. Jung stated, seeing it as merely a mask of collective convenience. Translation: you have to shed your own skin to discover what lies beneath. It's in this crucible that you begin to become untouchable, not because nothing affects you, but because you've walked through your own fire. You've faced your inner demons. You've looked your shame, your neediness, your rage squarely in the eye and declared, I see you. You no longer control me. It is this internal clarity, this unflinching honesty with your own darkness that forges a strength independent of external approval or control. Suddenly, you don't need everyone to love you. You don't need to win every battle. You don't need to constantly project strength, because you know who you are deep down, and no one can take that knowing away. True emotional armor isn't a brittle shell. It's a resilient core, forged from integrating all your parts into a conscious center that holds steady amidst life's storms. You'll still feel pain, but it won't shatter you. You might get hurt, but you won't lose yourself. You shift from being reactive to being whole. You move from skimming the surface to inhabiting your depths. But this depth comes with a companion, loneliness. Not necessarily physical isolation, but the loneliness of the path itself. Few can, or will, accompany you into these depths. Most remain trapped on the surface, clinging to masks, terrified of feeling. As you liberate yourself, you naturally create distance. Understand this. It's not rejection, it's maturation. You're not distancing out of pride. You're distancing because you no longer fit in the cramped spaces where you once hid. And this leads us to the ultimate shield. Consciousness. It's not brute strength that protects you, it's clarity. This is our final exploration. Consciousness as the only state where nothing external truly holds power over you. Let's complete this crossing together. You're almost there. Now that you've journeyed this far, let this land with absolute clarity. Nothing external can shield you from suffering as long as you remain unconscious of your inner world. Words will sting, rejections will wound, losses will devastate until you awaken. An awakening isn't a mystical lightning strike, it's a daily conscious choice. The choice to look within, even when it's uncomfortable. The choice to take radical responsibility for everything you feel, without blaming others, the past, or fate. Remember Jung's powerful insight. What you resist persists. What you accept transforms. Think about your life. How much energy have you poured into resisting? Resisting the fear of inadequacy, the sting of rejection, the ache of loneliness, the anguish of not being seen. And what did that resistance yield? Hiding, silencing yourself, trying to control the uncontrollable, striving for an impossible perfection, attempting to be perpetually strong. And it brought you here, exhausted, tired of fighting the world, and even more tired of fighting yourself. But now you hold the key. True emotional immunity isn't hardness, it's clarity. It's not about building thicker armor. It's about expanding your awareness. When you understand your triggers, your patterns, your wounds, the actions of others lose their destructive power. You still feel, yes, but you no longer drown. You still experience pain, but you don't lose your center. And that changes the entire game. Your true shield isn't found in protecting yourself from life. It's found in diving into it, fully and deeply. Those living on the surface are tossed by every wave. Those who dive deep discover the silence, the stability, the immense power residing beneath the turbulent surface. That's where you're headed. And when you begin to live from this integrated, present, accepting place, the world can throw its punches, but it struggles to find a place to land. You've already met yourself there. If this journey has sparked something within you, if a part of you feels ready to step into this awareness, declare it. Write in the comments, "I choose awareness." Let's build a community of people choosing authenticity over pretense, choosing to live in truth, not just survive in strength. And don't stop here. The next video builds on this foundation. Keep the momentum going. Real transformation isn't a single step. It's the commitment to the path. I'll see you there.